Hello, welcome back to the Stitching Scotland Story podcast. On this episode, I'm joined by Craig MacIntyre, a marketing student from the University of Strathclyde, and we also welcome back Centre Director Sandy Maxwell-Forbes. Craig sits down with us to share how extended reality can be adopted into cultural attractions and also explains how digital technologies are the future of preserving the stories of the past in our generations to come. We are then rejoined by Sandy to explore how the Great Tapestry of Scotland is actively preserving these stories within the tapestry for the future. Enjoy. If you can go ahead and introduce yourself and your area of study.
Hello, I'm Craig MacIntyre. I'm a fourth year student at the University of Strathclyde studying marketing and human resources. And my dissertation was on the use of extended reality as a marketing tool for the travel tourism sector.
And can you explain for our audience what extended reality is?
Essentially, extended reality is the umbrella term that encompasses all immersive technologies together. It includes virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality.
And why would you say this is important to adopt extended reality into cultural attractions?
Well, the digital landscape is rapidly evolving, and it's clear from over the last 2 decades that not all, but many businesses that fail to adapt to advanced technology changes will fall behind. You can see, especially since COVID-19, that the acceptance of technology has increased. And I think that extended reality has opened up a potential gap in the tourism industry. And I think many businesses will exploit this because people want to get a better feel and understanding of what they could experience. Already, people go into social media and websites to get information and see photos of cultural attractions before going to them. Extended reality offers this information in a more engaging and immersive way. Being able to put on a headset and being able to digitally be at their cultural site and get a glimpse of what it is like. No previous medium that has come before this has had such an emotive power, and that enhanced visitor experience makes the visit more memorable and enjoyable. Also, I just think that's the way everything is going. There might be a generational divide on acceptance of its use, but for the children who are being educated with this technology, I think that's what they'll expect of the technology to be offered in the future, and it's important for cultural attractions to adapt to this need.
So how can these cultural attractions, such as the Great Tapestry of Scotland, which I know you did a bit of work with for your degree, how can these attractions better integrate extended reality into its offerings?
Well, the Great Tapestry of Scotland is a fantastic cultural attraction that showcases the rich history and heritage of Scotland through its stunning tapestry art. However, just like any cultural attraction, if you don't invest into it, you run the risk of it becoming a static museum piece. And I'm glad that the tapestry wants to be at the forefront of the digital change, and they were one of the first cultural sites in the UK to start investing in extended reality. So the ways in which Tapestry of Scotland could integrate extended reality is by offering augmented reality within an app, like on people's smartphones, where people could scan different parts of the tapestry, trigger animations, videos, and audio descriptions that provide people with more information about the history and culture depicted in the artwork, which would allow visitors to be more engaged and immersed in the tapestry. Further, they could also use virtual reality experience, and this could take visitors on a virtual tour of Scotland, highlighting the key historical events and cultural icons depicted in the tapestry. For instance, visitors could wear a VR headset and navigate through a virtual world that immerses them in the history of the culture of Scotland. And finally, the Great Tapestry of Scotland could integrate an online XR experience that allows people from all over the world to explore certain parts of the tapestry and learn about the history and culture of Scotland. For instance, visitors could use a website or mobile app to view some of the tapestry in 3D and interact with different elements so that they are more inclined to come and see the real thing in person.
All of these it doesn't seem real to me that you can do this, but it is really very much where things are headed. So why do you think some cultural attractions aren't investing in extended realities just now?
Well, I think currently there's a standstill with the technology because the technology still needs to be developed, and for many businesses to invest, they need a lot of people to be using the technology. But for people to start using the technology, they need the businesses to start investing in them more. So we're currently at this standstill. So the fact that Tapestry Scotland has taken this step forward to be at the forefront of the change is very beneficial, and I think they'll be one of the cultural sites to benefit from people wanting to use the technology for the first time.
Building onto this theme of building tomorrow, where do you see the future of storytelling and sharing Scotland's story going?
Well, Scotland has a rich history and there's so much to learn, but to carry on that history, we need to think about enhancing the overall visitor experience and understand what visitors want. Extended reality enables cultural sites to create more engaging and immersive experiences for the audience. When I think of building tomorrow and sharing Scotland's story, I think about the advancement of technology will likely play a vital role in preserving Scotland's heritage. So I think it's vital that we start integrating this into all tourism sectors within Scotland.
Sandy, welcome back. Earlier on in the episode, we had Craig MacIntyre, and he talked about adopting extended reality into cultural attractions like the Great Tapestry of Scotland. And we had a discussion on looking at the future of digital technologies in preserving cultural artifacts. So now with you, I'd like to talk about how the Great Tapestry of Scotland is actively incorporating digital technologies into its visitor experience to better build stories for tomorrow.
We are using technology currently with our visitors, but we want to further develop that. There's so much more we can do. I mean, this project, when it was first put together, was, as you can imagine, several years ago. The rate of technology is exponential. I mean, it's changing by the month, by the year. And so we want to use technology to increase the reach of our audiences and engage the interest of the younger demographics in education, because when we think about the future, that's the next generation, which is the education of younger children. And we want to really have the tapestry to exhibit progressive, modern and emerging priorities, and I think digitisation is important. What we have here is a static exhibition. We have to think about its future and what that means. So engaging children now is really quite important. And we also want to showcase the visitor centre as a forward-thinking tourism business as well. Because the main asset is a static exhibition, we want the first impression experienced by the young visitor to really overwhelm and inspire them. And we are doing that through our education programme. But we want to, and we really must address, understand and respond to the needs and expectations and interests of people through digitisation. And we appreciate here, because of what we're doing with younger people, that the younger generations are immersed and learning in a world that is technology driven already. And we accept that conventional methods do not capture their imagination nor their attention. So we are working with some great people who are leading the way in developing and progressing advantages in the digital cultural world, which will impact the expectations of all our visitors, especially young people. But the other thing we want to do with digital also, as I said, it's a fixed asset sitting here in Galashiels, but we want to take the experience outside the walls of the attraction itself, and that's our ambition. And digital development will provide a solution which works either picked up in the centre during a visit, or when it uses a tool for interdisciplinary teaching in schools. But also we want to offer the opportunity for people to experience the tapestry who cannot travel to see it, because inclusivity is a very important part of our strategy. You know, if somebody really can't travel through whatever reason, they shouldn't really, I feel, miss out on the tapestry. Digital will give us that opportunity to share that with them. We base this on research, and at a tourist conference recently, they shared with us that 26% of visitors wanted to have a digital experience either before, during or after their visit. So really very important. And that number rises sharply for Gen Z, who on average 68% want to have that digital experience. That's a very high number.
Yes, indeed.
And we are very focused on, as I say, the future of the tapestry, the legacy of the tapestry. So people, young people, want to really have this digital experience now so they can interact and relate with the tapestry and what they're seeing. And we've done some work, again, with the schools here in the borders. Mm-hmm. And speaking to the pupils in the borders, they also show a very strong preference for experiencing the world through digital channels if they're given a choice. classic one they talked to us about was attending an event such as a concert in a virtual space, and a lot of them have already. So it's quite astonishing. It blows my mind. I have to go into meetings when we're talking about digital enhancement and digital development of the future, and I have to keep a wide open mind because it's changing rapidly. It's hugely exciting. One of the ambitions I have here is, because history, we think about the tapestry, it starts from the Ice Age, not when the Romans arrived, as most history does. It starts right back from the Ice Age and goes right up until the reopening of Parliament. But history is being made every day. And I think for young people, there are new issues. There are issues around net zero and the environment. There are issues around displacement, the war in Ukraine, immigration. So all these brand new issues that are going to affect a younger generation. These are their issues now. Ours too, but young people's issues. It's their future. And I think it's fantastic that we capture Scotland's history, how we have, as a story. But I think we have more stories to tell because Scotland's history hasn't finished.
Exactly.
It's continuing. So in terms of what we've got here, we do have an app. Now all the schools that come in for education all have iPads, every single one of them. It was a wonderful project that was carried out by Borders Council, Scottish Borders Council, and they ensure that every child has an iPad for learning. So already the children are coming to us with that mindset, and they use that as part of their visit to enrich and enhance the lessons. But the app we have, it's downloadable from prior to coming in the App Store. And there are options on here for a short tour. There is also an option for stories in the tapestry, which we all love very much.
Indeed.
And also there's an app in there or a section in their program for children who can scan objects in the tapestry, collect them, and create their own digital little tapestry as well. So a lot of what we're doing is around digital technology. My ambition, my entire ambition, is to have an immersive space. I've seen a couple, I've been to visit, and they are done so very well, and the content is tremendous. And we have a room here, which I would really love to tell, so not quite a secret now I'm telling you, but my ambition is to have this room turned into an immersive space where we can bring the tapestry to life. And you can go in and just immerse yourself in a war, a battle, education, whatever the story is, you can immerse yourself in it. But it's touch, it's feel, it's smells, it's everything. And instead of seeing, the tapestry itself is just tremendous, of course. And shouldn't be missed by anybody. But I think by bringing it alive, we're securing the legacy for the future.
How do you see these digital technologies helping to keep the tapestry, but more importantly, the stories that are told within this tapestry alive for the future? It is digital technologies that are going to keep this thriving and continuing.
Yes.
So that's the legacy?
That is absolutely the legacy. And I think it's so important because as we know in history, stories get lost.
Yes.
They disappear. I live here in the Borders in the Yarra Valley, and there are hundreds of amazing stories going back hundreds of years. Some of my best friends, the farm has been in the family for 300 years. And they have wonderful old farming stories. Now, when that generation goes, the stories have gone. Keeping these stories alive is very important. We can't afford to lose the stories here. We've worked with a lot of the stitchers to get their secrets out and their stories, but there's more to be done, I think. And I think capturing those stories and bringing them alive through digital technology and putting them on new platforms to make it available and fully inclusive, I think is very important. We can't lose what we know now. We are at a point in time, and we have to think about the future and how we protect the tapestry for the future and the stories in it.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Stitching Scotland's Story. Be sure to tune in for our final episode, where I'll be joined by Claire Wallace, Professor of Sociology at the University of Aberdeen. Claire and I will be sitting down to discuss our recent research project, which looked at the impact of cultural tourism in Galashiels. We will be discussing how cultural assets, such as the tapestry, impact local communities and stimulate regional tourism.